Okay, I want you to picture a landscape that looks like it's been painted in shades of rose and magenta. It's this huge, shimmering mirror, but it doesn't reflect a blue sky. It reflects this dreamlike, almost alien pink color. Now, this isn't Mars. This is Maharloo Lake in Iran. And its story, well, it's one of incredible strength, but also, as we'll see, deep fragility. So what's the deal with a place like this? First, we're just going to soak in the spectacle, what it looks like. Then we'll get into the science of that wild color. After that, we'll look at the surprising life it supports, tackle the, let's call it, the two faces of the lake, and finally, ask what the future holds. All right, let's start with just how surreal this place looks. I mean, it really messes with your senses. You're not sure if you're looking at a lake or, I don't know, a liquid sunset that's been poured into this valley, surrounded by these incredible rugged mountains. And it's not just us saying it. One traveler, Musk S, put it perfectly. One of the most beautiful lakes I've ever seen. The color is like a dream. And you can totally see why. It's an experience that feels unreal. It just proves that nature's imagination is way, way better than ours. So where in the world is this place? It's actually just about 25 kilometers from the ancient city of Shiraz in Iran, tucked away in this big, semi-dry basin. But here's the thing, it's not just where it is, it's what it is. And the key clue, the first big piece of the puzzle, is that this is a seasonal salt lake. And when we say seasonal, we mean dramatically seasonal. This lake is in a constant state of flux. You know, in the wet season, from around December to April, rains can swell it up to a massive 600 square kilometers. But then, the summer hits. The sun just beats down, the water evaporates, and the lake shrinks, which actually makes that pink color even more intense. This cycle is so wild that sometimes, like back in June of 2021, the whole thing can just disappear, vanish completely, leaving behind nothing but this vast sparkling bed of salt. Okay, so that leads to the big question, right? How on earth does a lake turn pink? Well, it's not magic, it's biology. A kind of natural alchemy, really, performed by these tiny little life forms that are absolute masters of surviving in some of the toughest conditions imaginable. All right, let's meet the star of the show. This is Dunaliella salina. It's a type of single-celled alga, and it's what's called halophilic, which is just a fancy way of saying it absolutely loves super salty places. Now, here's the funny part. It's technically a green alga, but when the going gets tough, it pulls out a pretty spectacular party trick. So here's the recipe for a pink lake. First, you need intense sun and a lot of evaporation. That makes the water incredibly salty. We're talking hypersaline. This, as you can imagine, really stresses out our little algae friends. So what do? As a defense mechanism, like a natural sunscreen, they start pumping out this reddish-orange pigment called beta-carotene. And they make so much of it that it literally dyes the entire lake pink. So yeah, that beautiful pink color, it's basically a sign of extreme stress. It's a biological SOS. It only happens when you get this perfect storm of conditions. Salinity that's 3 to 6 times saltier than the ocean, summer temperatures hitting up to 40 degrees Celsius, and just relentless, intense sunlight. And you know, it's not just the Dunaliella. There are other microbes in there too, like halobacteria, that add to that reddish color. Now, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this super salty pink water would be completely lifeless, right? But you'd be wrong. It's actually the heart of a surprisingly resilient and really, really important ecosystem. And that ecosystem is based on a really simple, really efficient food web. At the bottom, you have our pink pigment-producing algae, Dunaliella salina. Then along come these tiny little guys, brine shrimp, also known as Artemia salina, and they just feast on the algae. And then who eats the brine shrimp? Well, the lake's most iconic visitors, the greater flamingos. In fact, that's where they get their famous pink color from. They literally are what they eat. So this isn't just some local curiosity. Maharloo is a crucial stopover for migratory birds. Think of it like a giant, vital airport and all-you-can-eat buffet on the Central Asian Flyway. We're talking huge numbers, up to 150,000 greater flamingos in a good year. And they're not alone. You get sandpipers, plovers, ducks, pelicans, you name it. It's a bustling hub of life. But this is where the story gets a little more complicated. Because for all its beauty, there's another side to Maharloo. And that incredible pink surface, well, it does a really good job of hiding the serious dangers the lake is in. You see, the lake kind of has this dual identity. On one side, it's a natural sanctuary, this amazing haven for birds, and it's an economic resource.
But on the other side, it's basically an ermine sink. It's the end of the line for a lot of the waste from the nearby city of Shiraz. We're talking untreated sewage, industrial runoff, even waste from hospitals. It all flows right into the lake.
And then there's the stuff you can't even see. When scientists analyzed the sediment, they found up to 860 microplastic particles per kilogram. Let that sink in. 860 tiny pieces of plastic for every kilo of mud. That's a staggering amount of hidden pollution that's becoming part of the lake itself. And the threats aren't just flowing into the lake, they're closing in around it. Just look at this. Between 2013 and 2023, a single decade, the amount of built-up urbanized land around the lake jumped by 43%. And as those areas grow, the natural wetlands and landscapes that the lake depends on, well, they shrink. It's what this environmental assessment says perfectly. This beauty masks a system under profound stress. And that's the real deception here, isn't it? The lake is so beautiful, so otherworldly, that it hides the fact that it's being squeezed by urban growth and choked by pollution. The danger is silent, and it's flowing right under the surface.
So all of this, it brings us to a really critical point. The future of this lake is truly hanging in the balance. It's on a knife's edge.
Because when you think about it, Maharloo isn't just one thing. It's all these things at once. It's this incredible ecological sanctuary. It's an economic resource. It's a tourist marvel. And it's a pollution sink. All of these identities are constantly in conflict with each other. So its survival really comes down to this delicate, tricky balance. On one side, you have the natural rhythm, the seasonal rains, and the extreme evaporation. On the other, you have this growing, relentless pressure from us, from humans. A system that's built on resilience is being pushed right to its breaking point. And that leaves us with one last question to think about. When we look at Maharloo Lake, what are we really seeing? Is it a powerful testament to nature's resilience, or are we just watching a beautiful, one-of-a-kind masterpiece slowly fade away?